Tarlow, and I am one of the founders of SaferTourism. And we are going to be starting a weekly program. It will be broadcast continuously throughout the week, which we're calling Tourism in Review. It will be a discussion, not a lecture, between probably one of the world's great leading journalists in tourism, Juergen Steinmetz, the founder and the person who truly is the brains behind eTurboNews and many other tourism news outlets, and myself. And I, for those of you who don't know me, I work in tourism security around the world. I've had opportunities to work with Olympics and with World Cups and work with cities, states, governments, and police departments trying to make the tourism world a safer and better place. So we're going, again, this is meant to be a free flow discussion. It will repeat throughout the week. And then each Wednesday, we will be changing it so that we'll be able to be somewhat current on what's going on, reviewing the past week in tourism. So let's begin with that first issue. Juergen, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I know you'll have a few questions to ask me. But I guess my first question is, what are some of the hot stories that have taken place in the world of tourism and the tourism industry during this last week? Today is the first day of April, and so let's say the last week of March.
Well, Peter, I don't know how much time we have on this, but I think we agreed on 15 minutes. So
yes.
I think in the 21 years we have been in business here at eTurboNews, there's never been a week ever I can remember where we had so much news and so many breaking stories one after another.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about the King of Thailand, but was actually our most popular story, that he's in Germany and has a harem of 20 wonderful, good-looking Thai ladies with him.
And I think that's an important story because in a world where there's so much negativity, it's nice to hear about beautiful women.
Well, it actually was almost a record story for us. We had close to 5 million people looking at it, and it actually broke our system. We had to upgrade our system because of this story. So I know this was an important story, but nevertheless, there are many, many important situations around the world. If you look what's happening just in our country alone, in literally from saying we don't really have a problem to now talking about 200,000 people that maybe die because of this. There is so much news in between. On a local basis, I'm in Hawaii. Hawaii is pretty much locked down, and from 30,000 tourists that are usually coming in during this month, a couple hundred made it, but they have to be quarantined in a hotel for 2 weeks and not even allowed to go to the swimming pool. And one of the first guys who actually didn't care about this regulation was arrested yesterday in Kauai. This world has changed over the week.
It's changed radically. And you are right. If you think about it, in January, the mayor of New York City and the city health commissioner told everyone to ignore coronavirus. And she, in fact, told people to go out and hug. And the mayor said that everyone should use the subway and the bus. Of course, today, New York is the center of the epicenter of the virus. So, and I'm just bringing those people up as an example, but they're leaders on both parties and throughout the United States. And many of our medical profession missed it also. So, we have to think through. Also, I think we have to take into account we were not getting accurate information from China. You remember in January, the Chinese said it was well under control, that it could not spread. Their doctors said it could not spread from human to human, and it was not a contagious disease. Obviously, that was misinformation, and I guess today we're all paying for that. So that's created all sorts of new problems around the world. For example, while this was all going on, Saudi Arabia and Russia decided to have a oil fight. And that oil fight created a whole new set of problems. The A gallon of gasoline in the United States may go below $1. I haven't seen that since I was in high school, and I'm 73 years old. Um, the I I cannot believe that we may actually see gasoline at 98 cents. The irony is from tourism that gasoline is so inexpensive, and yet most of us are home ridden right now and have no place to go.
Yes.
Um, so it's kind of like a ransom of bread, Chief. That I mean, it's truly ironic that when we can finally afford to go someplace in our cars, there's no we can't go there. So in reality, 99 cents in $2020 is a lot less money than it was in 1964, when I remember we talked about could the gallon of gasoline go above 99 cents. It did, big time.
So,
Um,
so,
so
so
yes,
no,
sir.
no, I'm just wondering, how would you see this short-term and long-term impacting the tourism industry once we get out of this situation? Or do
Yeah.
you think the gas prices are going to be going back up to $3 or $4
Well,
after that?
there's a lot going on around the world. First of all of this is going to impact tremendously the airline industry, which is a big part of the tourism industry. Um, One or two things could happen. First of all, today, if you listen carefully to the news, and this is April 1st, they are for the first time talking about stopping all domestic flights. Now, in a place like Hawaii, that would be disastrous. I mean, as bad as it is now, think if you couldn't get domestic flights into Hawaii, how would you get there? You'd have to swim, and that's a long swim from either California or Japan. Uh, I don't know if that will really happen. But I do think that the low cost of gas, at least for a short period of time, is going to encourage people not to go on airlines. Instead, it's going to encourage people to go on short term. And what I mean short term is, say, 5 or 6 hours from their home, using car trips rather than air trips. There'd be a lot of advantages to that. Um, there would be less worry as far as post coronavirus or post COVID virus. You'd be able to pack without having to deal with TSA. You would be able to bring food along the way. Uh, so we may see a major shift, at least for a while, in short term or medium range tourism over long term. Now, that's going to impact certain cities both in the United States and in the world. Places that are dependent on long term or long haul tourism may have some real problems they have to think through. If you think through Las Vegas, other than the Los Angeles area, which is 4 hours away, they're basically an island in the middle of the desert. Um, the same thing would certainly be true even of Miami, Florida. Uh, Travel between Europe and the United States may become almost non existent for a while. And of course, the United States has the most number of COVID uh, cases, but it's a much bigger country than any country in Europe. And so, you know, exactly how that will impact is not known. But I think we're going to see, at least for a while, unless there's an agreement by the Russians and Saudis to come to some sort of deal. Now, my suspicion is that the United States currently is the largest oil producer in the world, and it costs us about $40 to extract oil from the ground, a barrel. So if they can make the price go to $20, it basically shuts down the competition coming from the United States. Yet, so that would be on one level. Of course, the other side of that is if the economy is weak, tourism does not do well. When the economy sneezes, tourism gets pneumonia. And so tourism is based, other than business tourism or health tourism, not necessarily medical tourism, but health tourism, on disposable dollars, disposable euros, or whatever your currency is. And if people don't have money, they're going to buy food before they go on a trip. How do you see it?
Well, I can agree with you on the part. I cannot imagine that there would be a lockdown on flights after this crisis is over.
Yeah.
I had an
Yeah.
interesting discussion with one of our writers in New York yesterday, and she thinks similar to what happened after September 11th, when New York went through this crisis, what is only really a fraction what we're going through right now.
Of course.
The entire airline industry and the security part of the aviation industry changed 180 degrees.
Yes.
So Eleanor also thought this is going to happen again, and she wouldn't be surprised. And I thought this was quite interesting, that when we board a plane after all this, there may be some protective cloth, like paper cloth, we have to wear to sit on an airplane. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is we're all guessing because we don't know. And part of it will be how the public reacts to these issues. And part of it, this is going to come out from the medical world. If we're able to find medications that can easily handle these types of viruses, I think that's going to reduce people's fear tremendously. On the other hand, if we do not find some sort of medication, and that means post getting the virus, but also giving someone a vaccination prior to the virus, something like we have with the flu shots. Now, the problem with the flu vaccine is they're only about 40% accurate. And they have to be changed each year as the flu goes through mutations. Will this become now part of travel? I don't know. There's talk that it may become, just like in South Korea, the use of masks may become ubiquitous. And if that's true, will people wearing masks scare people from travel? I don't know that. That's a question I'm bringing up. I don't have the answer. So I think as far as health goes, the real issue is going to be no matter what the bottom line, no matter what the outcome is, health is going to have become an incredibly important part of tourism. Just like after 9/11, everyone was really focused in on terrorism, and we still have to be focused in. I don't want to take that away. But having said that, we, for a long time, basically ignored the health component of tourism. Once in a while, we talked about maybe somebody getting Nordau virus on a cruise ship, but never to the levels of what we're now seeing, where whole country, not countries, the world is basically shut down. And you're right, this will change totally. How do you think, maybe to sum up, because we wanted to try to keep this to about 15 minutes, how do you see this is going to impact the media and be it the printed media or the electronic media or social media?
Well, I mean, media, like any business, has to pay bills, and bills
Yes,
are paid through advertisement. And
yes,
advertisements are placed when the economy functions. Right now, the economy is not functioning, or it looks like it's not functioning. The tourism industry is wiped out. So I think there are big questions marks on the media side too. How can a media survive without advertising, sensationalism, not telling the full story to generate traffic? I really don't have a crystal ball on this either,
sure,
Peter. But I think we will need changes on every level there is. Look at the cruise industry. I didn't want to throw something else in there, but look at the story right now. Hundreds of people or thousands of people on Zaandam cruises in not allowed to get into Fort Lauderdale, and 4
yes,
people already died on the ship, and many
yes,
others were sick. And
yes,
this has never happened as long as there's maritime and as long as there is there was a cruise industry.
yes. I think it's good you gave the past tense. And I'm wondering if media is going to change also, where we're going to have to go to pay per view. You know, if you had asked me when I was a young man, if you would ever pay for cable television, I would have thought you were crazy. And yet today, most people have some sort of paid TV service. It could be cable, or it could be um, through the airwaves, or whatever way it happens to be. Uh, I wonder if this is going to impact media, and if so, is that going to change not only the face of media, but also the independence of media? Will it now have to change, fight for subscribers in order to be able to survive? Again, I don't know that. I bring that up as a question. So these are some of the questions that are going on in the world of tourism, and it's been a great. Juergen Steinmetz and I will continue these conversations every week. We want to keep them basically to around 15 minutes. If you'd like to contact us, please, you can find our website at SaferTourism.com. That's SAFER tourism, TOURISM.com. Please write us. Let us know what you think, suggestions for future programs, and issues you'd like us to take into account. And if I could speak for my colleague, Juergen, we want to wish you all a very safe and healthy upcoming week. Bye-bye.
Aloha. Bye-bye.
What you think?
Yeah, no, I think it went. Let me just turn this off.
This conference will now be recorded.
No, hang on.